What could make the British Empire fear a shrine hidden deep inside an Igbo forest? A place so powerful that kings consulted it. A place feared that people travel hundreds of miles just to hear its judgments. A place whose influence stretched across much of eastern Nigeria. And in 1901, the British decided it had to be destroyed. Let me ask yourself the question, why? Was it because of religion, politics, or was there something else hidden inside the forest of Arochukwu? This is the story of the Long Juju of Arochukwu, one of the most mysterious and controversial institutions in African history. Long before colonial rule arrived in what is now Nigeria, Arochukwu had become the center of a vast network of influence. At the heart of that network was the famous oracle known as Ibini Ukpabi, which Europeans later nicknamed the Long Juju. To many communities across the region, the oracle was more than a shrine. It was a cult, a spiritual authority, and a place where disputes were settled. When conflicts arose between villages, families, or traders, people often sought for the judgment of that oracle. Its decision carried enormous weight. The priests who served the shrine became influential figures. And over time, the Aro people built extensive trade and diplomatic network. But as the 19th century drew to a close, another power was advancing into the interior, the British. Officially, the British claimed they wanted to end slavery, suppress what they described as harmful religious practices, and establish colonial administration. They viewed the Long Juju as a major obstacle to their plans. However, there was another reason: control. They wanted control. The British could not fully dominate the region, while local institutions commanded more loyalty than the colonial officers. And few institutions were more respected or even feared than the oracle in Arochukwu, that's the Long Juju. To the colonial authorities, the Long Juju represented an alternative source of power, a source of power they did not even know or they could not control. Tensions continued to rise. Then, in the late 1901, the British launched a major military expedition against the Aro people. Thousands of soldier carriers and allied forces advanced towards Arochukwu from multiple directions. That particular fight was very fierce, and the Aro resisted. But British firepower proved very overwhelming. Villages were attacked, defensive positions fell, and eventually, British forces reached the sacred center itself, the Long Juju Shrine. What happened next became one of the most symbolic moments in the conquest of eastern Nigeria. Some stories say that the shrine was destroyed, while others said they could not even destroy the shrine with so much attempts and so much firepower. The shrine remained where it was. But according to history, they declared the oracle defeated. To colonial officials, it was a victory over a system they associated with slavery and resistance to British rule. To many local people, it marked the destruction of an institution that had shaped regional life for generations. But here is the fascinating part. Even after the shrine was attacked and colonial rule expanded, the story of the Long Juju did not disappear. Its cave still exists. Its legends still survive. And debates continue to this day. Some see it as evidence of the sophistication and influence of pre-colonial African institutions. Others view it through the darker lens of the slave trade and the controversy surrounding the oracle's role during that era. Now, more than a century later, the ruins of the Long Juju remains a reminder that history is really simple. I always say this because the British did not just attack a shrine. They attacked a symbol they thought was a threat. They attacked a symbol of authority, a symbol of belief, a symbol of world that existed before colonial rule. The question is, when the guns fell silent in Arochukwu, was the Long Juju truly destroyed, or did its legend become even more powerful than shrine itself?